Well, today's a very special day for the great state of Florida and, of course, Pensacola, Florida, with the Champions of Service Award. And we're very fortunate to have our good friend here, Mr. Chester Spellman from Volunteer Florida, and all the great things that Volunteer Florida does for cities like Pensacola before and after disasters, raising monies before disasters and after disasters. It's the lead agency for Governor Scott and when it comes to volunteerism. And I think everyone in this room will agree, when you volunteer, you change the world. And you can't do it just one mayor at a time or one representative at a time or one council member at a time. We have to do it as a village and as a team. And that's what volunteerism is truthfully about. And it's exciting that Chester reached out to us in Volunteer Florida and Governor Scott to really ask me, who do you think in your community? And we have amazing volunteers in Pensacola. This town, we were just talking about it before we walked down here, how many people step up, not just in a disaster, but every single day to volunteer their time to help someone and benefit the community. But right at the top of my head came two amazing ladies that I know, and I'm going to talk about in a little bit here, that have done amazing things for Pensacola, and that's DeDe Flounlacker and Andrea Krieger with United Way and MANNA Food Bank. And I've been able to really get to know them up close and personal the last 4 years. So we're going to talk about those great ladies. Where's Andrea? Where's she sitting? Okay, there she is. You know, the people that... So it is a team effort, and that's what it's really about today. I want to recognize Representative Mike Hill. Let's give him a big hand. I want to recognize Representative Clay Ingram, Councilman Charles Bear, Councilman Brian Spencer, Councilman Larry Johnson, and Councilman Gerald Wingate. And we have our illustrious County Commissioner Lumen May back there. We have our Chief of Police, Chip Simmons, somewhere. Where is he? There he is. He's in his investigation dress-down look today. I know that the sheriff was going to be here, but you know, you think about law enforcement, you think about our council. We all volunteer, and we love volunteering. And I think as community servants, we all learn what it's about to give back, and that's the most important thing. And without further ado, I want to introduce Mr. Chester Spellman from Volunteer Florida. Chester oversees a $23 million budget, and he's going to tell you the rest of the great things that he and his team do for the great state of Florida and for every city and county in Florida. So, Mr. Chester Spellman.
Good afternoon. It's great to be here in Pensacola. So often we're stuck in Tallahassee, so I love being able to travel the states, and it's great to be here with all of you today. Well, Volunteer Florida, as Mayor Hayward said, is the governor's lead agency for volunteerism and service in the state of Florida. Our mission is to strengthen Florida's communities through volunteerism and national service. We're honored to be able to be here today, really excited about the Champion of Service Award. This award program was launched, I guess, about a year and a half ago. And it's our mission in Volunteer Florida to strengthen communities through partnering with nonprofits. We administer the AmeriCorps program for the state. We also are the lead agency with the Florida Division of Emergency Management, responsible for managing donations and volunteers during disasters, actually before, during, and after disasters. When we launched the Champion of Service Award, we realized that so frequently volunteers are not recognized. And so we wanted to create a statewide award, and the Champion of Service Award is the only statewide volunteer recognition award. And we partnered with Governor Scott. Governor Scott embraced this award and really focused on recognizing the great work of volunteers and volunteer organizations across the states. So we're thrilled to be here today to recognize two fantastic volunteers. One of the things that we really focus on is our emergency management work. And we have some really exciting news. We have released $250,000 through the Florida Disaster Fund. One of your Organizations here, Greg Strader with Brace was one of the recipients of some of that funding. So we're thrilled to be able to invest in this community to help rebuild from the spring flooding this past April. And also, we just released an RFP for $900,000 grant that we received through FEMA for disaster case management services. So we're really committed to partnering with you. The mayor has been just a fantastic partner, and we're honored to be able to work with the mayor, his office, and the city of Pensacola to continue to help rebuild this community from the flooding of last year. I wanted to thank Representative Ingram and Representative Hill for being here with us. I also wanted to introduce my staff that came with me from Tallahassee. I have Aaron Van Sickle, my External Affairs Director. I have Ken Skalitsky, our incoming Emergency Management Director. Marilee White, she's retiring this month. She's been with us for 14 years, and she's done a lot of work for the last 14 years here in Pensacola. She's our outgoing Emergency Management Director. Well, I wanted to do something that's kind of off script. I wanted to ask Marilee to come up and say a few words about our two recipients. Over the last year, she's worked very closely with both Andrea and DeDe, and I thought Marilee would have just a great perspective, and just wanted her to share a little bit of her experience working with our two recipients. Marilee.
Thank you. Wow. I have not known Andrea very long, just since the floods. But my experience in working with her has been amazing. She has jumped out there, committed her organization to helping in so many different ways. We were just talking with your mayor this afternoon about daily calls that Andrea would make to the mayor's office. How can I help? How can United Way help? And truly, she has an amazing resource here in Pensacola and in Escambia County. And I'm really honored to have had an opportunity to work with you, however briefly, in response to this flood. DeDe, on the other hand, she and I go way back. I don't know a lot of history before she moved temporarily to Tallahassee, but I do know that she was with a couple of different nonprofits and very successful there. But when she moved to Tallahassee, her first day on the job, she was put in charge. We were in Hurricane Charlie response, and she was put in charge of the Florida Volunteer and Donations Hotline. I said, take it, DeDe, and she did an amazing job. She was with Volunteer Florida for several years after that, and I want to tell you one quick story, and she could do it better than I could, but her organization, MANNA Food Pantries, routinely provides food for people in need throughout this community and the region. And she is such an advocate of volunteers and volunteering and donating and helping people in need that when MANNA was flooded, she had people who were normally recipients of food from MANNA come and bring boxes of food back to MANNA to share with people who were in more need than they were. I mean, that just touched me, and I can't even explain how important and what an amazing person she is, but what an amazing organization she has. Thank you both for your service.
Thank you, Marilee, and I just wanted to recognize Marilee again for her 14 years of service to the state of Florida. There's no one that's been more committed to the work that we're doing in emergency management, response, and recovery, focused on coordinating volunteers and donations than Marilee. So thank you, Marilee. I mentioned earlier that at Volunteer Florida, we also administer the AmeriCorps program for the state of Florida, and we do have an AmeriCorps program based here in Pensacola. We have the ACES program with DCF, and we have Jessica here today. So Jessica, it's great to see you. Jessica serves as the program director for the ACES AmeriCorps program. Well, at this time, I'd like to ask DeDe Flounlacker and Mayor Hayward to come join me. I'll just say a few words about DeDe. Now, as Marilyn mentioned, DeDe used to work at Volunteer Florida. That was before my time. I'm sorry I didn't have a chance to work with you because there's still fantastic stories of all all that you accomplished.
We're good now.
All good stories, yes. Well, I cannot think of a more deserving individual and organization than DeDe. When I spoke with Mayor Hayward, I guess a couple months ago now, and we talked about this award ceremony, you came up immediately. Mayor Hayward didn't even have to really think more than 5 seconds. I mean, he had the 2 nominations right away. But DeDe, it's our honor to recognize you with this award. Just a little bit about MANNA for those of you who are not as familiar with MANNA Food Pantries. MANNA is the primary food pantry in Escambia and Santa Rosa counties. But during last year's flooding, MANNA's headquarters took in 3 feet of water. MANNA lost its entire food stock and its building. Within a month, though, MANNA was restocking its shelves and meeting its mission to leave no one unfed. And I think, DeDe, you mentioned that you were one day not operating, so that's a testament to your commitments. Under the leadership of Executive Director DeDe Flounlacker, MANNA worked with the community to raise money to continue serving the hungry, resume services, and purchase new property, truly starting from scratch. Even when staff and volunteers were working out of temporary trailers, MANNA's priority has always been to leave no one unfed. Pensacola is fortunate to have such a servant leader as DeDe. I wanted to ask the mayor to say a few words as well.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Well, again, we talked about volunteerism and what it does for the community, and all of you wouldn't be here if you didn't care about our great city and our county and being a volunteer. But on April 29th and the day after, showing up on Tarragona Street and looking at DeDe's eyes and rolling up her sleeves and going through there with a lot of people that are on your team. I know Jay's here, Bradshaw, but a lot of the people that I didn't know personally, and so many of us do so many things, not just rolling up your sleeves, but you write checks, and then you physically are out there. But what DeDe was going through with her team to make sure no one missed a meal when, for Pensacola, that was a devastating day. It just rips your heart open, but most importantly, you weren't scared of the devil, as I like to say, and you said, how can we feed these people? What can we do to get back up and running? And you're the epitome of a volunteer and what it means to Pensacola, to Santa Rosa County, Escambia County, and I'm just very blessed and fortunate to call you a friend and to know that you're going to deliver for the community and the citizens that I represent, that we represent as representatives and council members. So DeDe, you're amazing, and I know your family thinks that, and I know the city of Pensacola thinks that, so thank you.
Oh, thank you.
It's an honor to present you and MANNA Food Pantries with the Volunteer Florida Champion of Service Award.
Thank you so much. I always get scared when people say, I have this story about DeDe, but so far it's been okay. And Andrea, you can't tell any, I know, and Carson, you certainly can't. But I just want to tell you that I'm up here accepting this award on behalf of MANNA. And I appreciate all the accolades and the nice words that have been said about me. But truly, this is not for me. It is about our team, and we have a small number of staff members, and they're here with me today, and they were in the mud and the muck that day, and many days to come after the flood. And our board of directors, we have a few of our members here, and Jay Bradshaw, who hates it, but I want you to stand up, Jay. Come on, stand up. Jay is an amazing man, and he became part of our team for weeks after the flood, and we could not have made it without him. So, Jay, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, well now I'd like to ask for Andrea Krieger to come up. Mayor, do you want to join us too? So in the same breath that the mayor was nominating DeDe, Andrea's name came up as well. And Andrea, I don't know you as well as I know DeDe. I look forward to getting to know you and working with you more in the future. But as all of you know, Andrea is the CEO of the United Way of Escambia County. And it's our honor to present you and the United Way with this award. A little bit about Andrea and her work at the United Way. The United Way of Escambia County raised $3.2 million in 2014 with a total impact on the community of over $10 million. That's phenomenal. But there's still a great need. The United Way saw a 61% increase in their 211 referrals in 2013 and 2014, with referral specialists serving over 69,000 people. That means more people than ever are looking for assistance with their basic human needs. Volunteers with United Way served 33,714 hours in the community, an increase of 22% over the previous year. We love to hear statistics like that, and it shows that there's more volunteers that are serving through your organization in this community. But none of this would be possible without the leadership of Andrea. She works tirelessly to bring together nonprofit agencies, businesses, faith-based organizations, the government, and volunteers to focus on the community issues that matters most. So Andrea, congratulations. And Mayor Hayward, I'd like to...
Yeah, No. I only know good stories about you women. I mean, I know plenty have stories about me in here, but Andrea, again, like DeDe, when I got into office 4 years ago, politicians always have these great ideas, and we're going to change the world, and we're going to do all these great things, and we have done a great job as our representatives, our council members, as a team at the city of Pensacola. But you need crusaders like Andrea to step up. When I wanted to do Common Sense Pensacola, Andrea put her arm around me and she said, Ashton, let me help you with this. And you've been amazing with that. When it comes to 211, after the flood, our phone was ringing off the hook at City Hall and what Andrea and her team could do to help the citizens of Pensacola and Escambia County. And it never stops. Always looking for things, whether it's, helping feed people, the elderly calling, educating people. The tax returns are such an incredible part of what they do. We had a meeting here last year, and every volunteer was here, and they were just so enthused by your leadership, knowing that they're changing people's lives that don't have the same means to get their tax returns filed. So just the little things. I know your parents are here. I've had the good fortune of meeting the Kriegers, so I know that's exciting for you. But she never stops. Just like DeDe, she rolls up her sleeve, she says, what can I do? She looks you in the eye and says, I'm there, I'm down, and she's gonna get in the end zone, I can promise you that. So again, we are very fortunate to have someone like you leading United Way and doing all the great things that you do for our great city and our county. So thank you, Andrea, I appreciate it.
It's an honor to present you with the Champion of Service Award.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
And I'm going to do the same thing as Dee, because literally that $10 million impact and those 30,000 volunteer hours don't happen because of me. There's a lot of folks in this room that make that happen. And it's wonderful to be a part of this community, but it is even more wonderful when every day you're greeted by a team, staff, I got several of them back there, that ask what else they can do. And they do it every single day. They stay late and they show up early. And I think sometimes when you're in the middle of crisis and chaos, you just need that one person who's either going to smile with you or laugh at what's happening, going to stand in the mud with you along with Dee, and we did that with them, and we're committed to doing even more than that. But I will say that, Ashton mentioned those volunteers for VITA. That's a $4.7 million impact in this community. Those are 52 volunteers that I don't understand why they want to do taxes for somebody for free, but it takes everybody doing a piece of it. And we have not just our staff team, but I see several of my board members out there. I'm going to make you do it because Dee set the precedent. So if my board members who are here will stand up, come on, David, Michelle, Michael, Beth, Nicole. just as hard as we do along beside us. And honestly, I'll echo what Chester said about our mayor, in that I can always pick up the phone and call, and Rebecca or Tamara is going to help out in whatever way possible, and they'll share, if you're out of town, what's going on and how to get that message out there. Your email communications that you send out are stellar. I love our representatives that are here. I think we're lucky to have people who will continue to serve despite the fact that it is an unattractive business sometimes. So I appreciate all of this, and I consider this United Waves Award. You guys are awesome.
Well, before I hand it back over to Mayor Hayward, I just want to thank you, Mayor, for hosting us today. It really is an honor to be here. The Mayor was sharing with us before all of the great things that's happening here in Pensacola, and I have to tell you, it's tempting. I've got to maybe open up an office here, or I need to find a way to spend a little more time here. But there's obviously great things happening in Pensacola, and it's exciting to be here. And please know that Volunteer Florida is here to serve your community. So thank you so much.
I want to ask Representative Hill and Representative Ingram to come up, but before I do that, I forgot one important person that I love dearly, and that's Sheila Bowman from Congressman Miller's office. Hey, it's all about the women, so we forgot. But Representative Hill, would you say a few words, please?
Thank you, Mayor. It's my pleasure and honor to be here today, especially because of these two ladies who are receiving these awards. And before I go on with that, I do want to mention that Volunteer Florida was awesome after the flood April 29th with Governor Rick Scott. Immediately, they were able to secure for us $250,000. And then even more recently, another $900,000 to help with the ongoing recovery that we have. So thank you so much for what you've done for us. I first met DeDe back in 1995 when I was on the board of directors of the Ronald McDonald House along with Ed Carson, and DeDe at that time was the executive director. Now the Ronald McDonald House, it means a lot to me. It has a place deep in my heart, and the reason being is my oldest son Joshua, who's 22 now, when he was first born, we were in Fort Walton Beach back in '92. That when he was 2 days old, had to be flown up to UAB, University of Alabama, Birmingham, for heart surgery. And I had just started a State Farm agency, and anyone who knows that when you start a new business, a small business, you have no money. And I had no money at all and didn't know what I was going to do to go up to Birmingham to stay with my son while he was in the hospital. And it was suggested to me, you heard of the Ronald McDonald House? I was like, no. But I went up to Birmingham and stayed there. It was a place that was right next to the hospital. We were there for 10 days. Josh was able to come out a lot sooner than they thought. They thought a month, but 10 days later we came back. And then when I moved to Pensacola and found out they had a house here, immediately I attached myself to it. And then there was DeDe, who was the executive director. And so I've known DeDe for such a long time. If there's just one word that I would say that expresses who she is, and that's compassionate. She is compassionate, and she puts her heart into everything, always giving. And then when DeDe was going to leave, I thought, oh no. And she left. I said there would be no one who could replace DeDe. And then Andrea stepped in at the Ronald McDonald House there, and she took it from where we had our little humble abode and made it into that great place that we see now right off of Airport Boulevard. That was Andrea that did that. So she stepped in, and when I think of a word, when I look at Andrea, I think of the two words come to mind, and that's Good Samaritan. So these are people who will not stop and leave someone in need, or keep on when someone's in need. They will stop. And so both DeDe and Andrea, I consider them close friends of mine, and they have been. And not only during, as we all here in this room know, are they active during a time of disaster, and they were. But throughout the year, they are constantly given with that compassion and that Good Samaritan spirit, and you are so appreciated. And so on behalf of the Florida House of Representatives, I would like to present to you both these letters of gratitude If you would come on up, please. From my office in the Florida House. So, Andrea.
Representative Clay Ingram.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you all. I'm so proud of this community. I know. I think back because of the turnout. When I walked in the room and saw how many people were here, my heart was touched. I thought back to the night in April when the floods were occurring. Being on the phone with my wife, we were in Tallahassee, sort of stuck there with no way to get home, and things were awful, and it was getting worse and worse and worse, and we were just there and sort of felt helpless, and our constituents and the people that we represent and care about were here and suffering, and that was just an awful feeling and an awful time. And then we were able to come back, and the governor came immediately. We were able to come with him very soon after, and DeDe and Andrea were there on the tours. And it became so apparent that not only were you obviously dealing with the flood like everyone else, but we're accomplishing your mission. And so so heartwarming, and so we're so proud of what you were doing. And I know it's not just you, it's your teams and your boards, and it's definitely a team effort. But my heart was filled with pride, and it was humbling to see you working in the awful conditions. And then I see Jess from AmeriCorps. The food distributions and everything you did, again, I was touched. You worked. We were all just physically exhausted, and there you were pushing through it and getting the job done, and making sure that people had what they needed. And so I just want to say thank you. And then Chester, if you would communicate back to the governor, another concern that I know we always have is when the cameras leave and the spotlight's not on us anymore, what happens to the people that are still suffering? I think that because events like this keep the spotlight on us and make sure that the people who were affected by the floods and everything else and the missions that Andrea and DeDe and United Way and MANNA are constantly after, that people are still taken care of. And so if you communicate that back to the governor, I know we'd all be appreciative. Thank you all so much. Again, I'm proud of this community, proud to have people like Andrea and DeDe and these organizations here. So keep up the good work. We're proud of you. And I'm proud to be a Pensacolian because of people like you. Thank you so much.
Well, I think both representatives touched on it. And again, it takes a team. And with our council members here, I want to thank all the council members for being here. My team for everything that they did. Aaron, Ken, Marilee, and Chester from Volunteer Florida. Again, Volunteer Florida oversees $23 million to help the folks in the great state of Florida, pre-disaster, after disaster, $900,000 grant that you were able just to secure. The $250,000 distribution right after the flood was incredibly important. But again, we have great leadership in Tallahassee. This is Governor Rick Scott's lead agency for volunteerism. We are a team. We've got a great voice in Tallahassee now. We're working hard, and in D.C. With Jeff Miller, our congressman. So let's keep doing what we're doing. Let's push the envelope. DeDe, we can't do it without you. Andrea, we can't do it without you. And most importantly, the volunteers that are sitting in the audience that came to take time out of their day to sit here and listen to us, recognize these incredible ladies is very, very important. So continue to volunteer and give back. As I said earlier, when you volunteer, you change the world. It's just not one person. So again, let's do it again. Thank you so much for being here.